Hey everybody, Kelly Engineer here, and welcome to episode 16 of Journey Across the Void. In between episodes, I've really just been sitting here making buckets, making steel, and I'm all going to combine it into some dynamic tank stuff and some structural glass. I just really want to complete those dynamic tanks that I have down in the wing of the Triskelion. So other than that, it's been pretty boring. I didn't really do much in between. I did prepare myself to make some bins because in this episode, what I want to do is I want to hook up some sort of storage system, individual storage, for all of the tiny clumps of nuclear craft stuff I'm getting, and I want to put it into mechanism bins. So of course they're singular. Well, now that that hope has been dashed, I'm just gonna go ahead and make my dynamic tank stuff. Here we go. Oh, look at that. It stacks like, normal stuff does. Well, I'm going to continue making all of these. I'm going to try to assemble all the dynamic tanks, and then I'm going to get into what we're actually going to do in this episode. So without any further ado, let's get to it. So here are my dynamic tanks, and of course there are rendering issues. Here's the deuterium, here's the hydrogen, and if I move over this way, there's the oxygen. So there is stuff in these tanks, and I'm not happy with the piping situation. I'm going to redo it somehow. I don't want to use the structure ducts. I actually want it to be piping, like visible, as if this was a factory. And yeah, I'm not sure how I'm going to do that right now. But I do have my electrolyzer still running, and yeah, it's just filling everything up. The hydrogen is filling up a little quicker than I want it to, but I still have plenty of room left here in this tank, and I can always void it into a quantum tank if I want to. But anyway, over here I have compacted a little bit the the fuel processor right here, and I have 233 oxide fuel, and I should have an excess of here we go. I have an excess of TBU oxide fuel as well. Like I said at the beginning, I wanted to take all of these tiny clumps of everything, and not worried about the decay hastener, but in the fuel reprocessor, these Neptunium, the uranium, I want to throw them all into bins. And that's going to be one of the tasks I do today. The second task I'm going to try to figure out is I have the depleted 233 oxide fuel. I want to turn this into, if I throw it into a fuel reprocessor, I'll get plutonium. And plutonium is a great fuel, but I just don't want all of this 233 oxide fuel sitting around. So I'm going to fuel reprocess it, and I'm also going to throw it into bins. The third thing that I want to do in this episode is over here, I'm kind of sick of these holes. So I'm actually going to make an RF Tools elevator. Oh, thank goodness it's still here. Yeah, I'm going to make an RF Tools elevator, and I'm going to hook up an elevator right here and right over here, just so it's actually in line of the way that the Triskelion is supposed to be. And yeah, those are going to be my 3 tasks for this episode. I should add about the tanks, they don't normally look like this. Whenever a fluid is in them, the fluid actually starts from the bottom and then starts to fill up. Probably, depending on the size of the tank, once it reaches like this first hash mark, then the fluid will start rendering inside the tank. That's not the case with gases. So the deuterium is technically a gas as far as the mod is concerned. Same with hydrogen, that's of course a gas, and oxygen. So it renders in the tank a little differently, where it's actually like a purple tank or a reddish tank. And then I have the cyan tank, if I could get it to render properly. There we go. So because it is a gas, it's actually filling up the whole tank and renders in the whole tank at once. And I am noticing that there is, as the tanks fill up, specifically the deuterium and the oxygen, I'm actually not noticing as many rendering issues. So, hey, right at this angle right here, I have all 3 of the tanks rendering at once, and that's good. I assume that the more the tank gets filled, the less rendering issues I'm going to have, because it's just not full enough in order to show it properly. That's what I assume. So I have in this chest, there we go, every single one of the ultimate bins, which can hold, as you see there, 262,144 items. I can only hold 1 item, just like the quantum storage unit, but this belongs to mechanism, which means it fits with the theme of all of the nuclear craft stuff. That's why I'm going to use it. Every single one of the tiny clumps that I have so far, and all of the clumps that are going to all the clumps that I'm going to make in the future will be going inside these bins, and they'll be sitting on this wall right here. I tried some stuff out in between episodes on how I'm going to incorporate this wall, because the doorway is right here. I may actually just move the doorway over and then seal this up and move this wall right into this wall right here where it intersects. I'm not sure yet, but yeah, I'm sure I'll figure it out in time. But to the matter at hand, I'm going to hook up every single one of these bins with every single with every single clump that I have unlocked so far. And there are a bunch of clumps that I can use, but not all of the clumps are going to be processed via fission reactor. So like the lithium-7, lithium-6, and the boron-10 and 11, those are actually used in the fusion reactor. So I don't have to worry about them going into one of these bins, because I don't think I'll ever really make the lithium-7. Yeah, it can go in isotope separator for the lithium ingots. I may make a bin for these, but yeah, I don't really know. So here are all 52 of the bins, and I'm happy with the layout of them. It was a little plain before, so I added this 1285 up here at the top just to give it a little bit more color. It's still pretty plain, and I'm sure I'll figure out a different block, but for now, this is the brand new wall down here. Now all I need to do is actually go behind here, and I found a use for the reinforced doors. Need to go back here, and I actually need to hook them up so that it's actually going to load everything from these machines into the bins. I am not sure whether or not the item ducts are going to insert via the back, because in the past, bins could only be loaded from the top and could only be unloaded from the bottom, unless you were like using your hand. So I do not know if that's still the case, and we're about to find out. Here comes the moment of truth. I have everything hooked up, and I have a gray-pink ender chest, which is hooked up right here. On the top, it's going to be white on the input, and on the bottom, it's black on the input, just so I can match up what color scheme I'm using over here. So, ooh, maybe should it be light blue? Never mind. So, out of here in the isotope separator, when the thorium oxide ingots come out, it's going to give me the tiny clumps of thorium-230, and then on the top is everything else that I get out of this fuel reprocessor. And yeah, let's move it on over. I'm going to hook up the servo, activate it, and nothing is going... Oh! Alright, stuff is going through, it's just incredibly slow. And that's to be expected. Alright, so everything is... It doesn't have to be loaded from the top. That is good to know. Let's make sure that it's actually doing its job before it gets to the Neptunium. Yeah, I don't think it's doing its job. It may just be... Things may just be getting caught in the item ducts. Oh, never mind. We just got to... This bin just started filling with stuff. In any case, from here, all of the bins that I have stuff going into already have the little insert over here. I've removed them for anything that doesn't have stuff inside it, and all it is a matter of breaking and then re-entering the item duct in order to make it add there again. And I am pretty happy with this setup. It doesn't move very fast, but then again, this ender chest isn't going to be filling up very fast either, so I think it all evens out. Alright, let's move on to the next thing. The next thing that we're going to work on are elevators, and I'm going to make 32 of them, and I think I have enough. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to make 32 elevators. I'm also going to make 32 elevator buttons. There are some other things that I can add to this, and I will add them later on in the episode, but I want to go over this methodically, because I haven't done it very often, and I usually just use the open blocks elevators, or now that I know that Ender Utilities exists, I'm going to be using the Ender Utilities elevators as well. But these ones are more realistic than they have to be. So I've already started clearing out right here where my elevators are going to be. So yeah, the elevator is gonna be right here. Yep, exactly right here. So I'm gonna be using these factory blocks, which are blue framed circuits, and I'm going to clear this out right... Oh no, I completely forgot about that. That may be a problem, but it'll work down here. So I'm going to place my elevator block and my factory blocks. Boom. And I need to make sure that this thing has power, so I'm going to put down a flux point right here. I've already gone through and tested this just to make sure that it works. So make sure we have the proper blocks. Yeah, I've already tested this to make sure that it works, but I'm going to put an elevator block up here as well at the second floor. Well, that didn't work. There we go. And I'm going to place one of my buttons right here. Now, because my two elevator blocks are on the same X and Z level, they're just on different Y levels now, it actually recognizes this elevator block as part of this network. This one does not need to be powered because it's part of this one's network, and this one, the lowest floor, is receiving the power. If you look inside the GUI for the elevator, and I'll just open the GUI, it specifically tells you that only the bottom elevator block needs power. And if I press this button, the elevator will move up. Now, there's no way to really get it down because the button actually calls the elevator, which is why I have these other items. I'm going to put in a button screen module, a screen controller, and an elevator button screen module as well. And that way I will actually be able to stand on one of these platforms and move myself up and down. So here we are. I have 64 screens, one screen controller, and I am going to need another one, and 64 elevator button screen modules. I'm going to go set these up real quick just to show you what they do. But basically what I want to do with them is have the ability to go up and down on my elevators. You'll see over here that I did place an elevator block just to test whether or not I could reach all the way up here, and I can. Unfortunately, the screen module does not have that ability. By default, the screen controller can only reach 64 blocks away from each other, and I think it's 128 blocks if it is 100% infused, and I can't infuse right now. I don't even think I have any dimensional shards. Regardless, it's only a range of 64, so I can't have, on one module alone, all the way up to the top floor from the bottom floor. But yeah, I'm going to hook these up and show you how they work. So in order to start this, all you have to do is just place your screen, and I have already configured this just like I did before to run a test. Normally when you place a screen, it is going to look like this. It's going to be small, but if you hit it with a crescent wrench, it will go between transparent, a 2x2, or a 3x3, and then transparent modes of each. And then you can break them and get them back. One thing that I don't like about RF tools that I wish you could do, and if it is possible, I don't know how to do it, is actually clear the configuration. Because if you accidentally place one of these blocks or use one of these blocks, it starts to clog your inventory. So I do not like that, but whatever, I'm about to place this screen anyway. So right now it says sneak right click for GUI and insertion of modules. So right now, here are all of the places where I can insert modules. The only one I'm going to be worried about is the elevator button screen module, and you'll see it's already configured. But if it wasn't configured, all you have to do is just shift right click and it will set to that elevator. I right clicked it into here, and now it has a whole bunch of configuration items. So I can change the button color. Current button level color is black, vertical. Cool beans. But this still isn't going to work because it is not hooked up to a screen controller. So I'm going to place the screen controller right here, and then once it is fully powered, all you have to do is hit scan, and it found that one connected screen, the one that I had before. And now that it's connected, you'll see that everything related to these elevators, I just have to press the button, and it doesn't really give you a satisfying click whenever you press it. You just have to click it and hope that it worked properly. And there we go. So I'm going to configure all of these again, and I can actually remove these buttons. It was kind of a waste of resources to make these buttons anyway. I'm sure I'll find a use for them. But now that I have screens, I'm very happy with this. Oh, another thing. So up at the top, obviously this is a window type area, so it's 2 blocks right here that are a window and 2 blocks right here that are a window, so I can't place the screen right there. I'm going to probably place the screen right here just so it's out of the way, and I can still press it if I need to and not have to worry about the windows up there, and it will at least be uniform all the way up as far as the elevators go. Now I'm placing my second screen, and I do want to show you that if I had placed the screen right here and used the crescent hammer, To change it, you'll see that it is going to start clipping. It doesn't care because the block itself is right here. It's just what being displayed is in the 2x2 area. So you have to make sure that it's placed correctly as well. When you put it right here, there we go. And now all I have to do is put an elevator module in again and link it to this one. Put it in and then go back to the screen controller and link that screen. 2 connected screens. Remember, this looks in a 64 block radius for any screens, so once I get too high, it's not going to recognize, but as far as these 4 floors go, I should be more than fine. So I've already run into a problem, and if I try to scan here, it's only going to find 3 connected screens. I do have the 4th one placed, but it is out of range, so I'm going to do one more thing in this episode. I'm going to scrounge up as many dimensional shards as I can, and I'm going to try to infuse this screen controller. 633 dimensional shard ore, that is not bad at all. And if I look at what it takes to actually get my dimensional shards, the sag mill is my best bet. So I'm about to do something incredibly stupid. Since the sag mill gives me so much, I really should not be doing it this way, but I am going to turn my Insanium pickaxe into as lucky as it can be. And then I'm going to try to break this dimensional shard, and hopefully I can get 4 stacks. 4 stacks, oh, maximum level of luck is reached. 4 stacks of dimensional shard ore, dimensional shards, is what it takes in order to infuse a machine into a 100% infusion level. So let's test out my pickaxe and see how it does. Oh, okay, this is perfect. I have more than enough. This is going to be easy. Here we are, move everything over, and I now have a machine infuser. So I just have to power this bad boy and throw in my dimensional shards as well as my screen controller, and everything should be hunky-dory. Do I have anything over here that's still powering something? I do not. Dang it. Just going to take this screen controller and put the infuser in its place. Now that it has its power, throw in the screen controller and the dimensional shards. Like I said, it is going to take 4 stacks in order to get this thing infused up to 100%. 1 full stack is 25% infusion. And 100% infusion. So you can infuse any RF tool. Well, I'm fairly certain every RF tools machine can be infused. Where'd it go? There it goes. So in the case of the builder, if you have 100% infusion, the builder will just chop through everything, including obsidian. Usually a builder will take a long time on obsidian. It also increases its RF capacity as well. So different infusion of different machines have different effects. And yeah, just try out infusing. In this pack, dimensional shards don't seem to be that difficult to get. On a standard pack, if it wasn't a skyblock, you'd have to go into the nether. You'd have to dig pretty deep. It's pretty rare in the overworld, if I recall correctly. So yeah, I'm pretty happy that I have easy access to dimensional shards in this pack. But now that I have this 100% infused, it found all 4 screens, which means the bottom portion of this triskelion now can access all of the screens. And with that, I am going to close out this episode. Now that I have my elevators, I can actually hook up elevators to everywhere in this wing, and I want to do it the same in that wing as well, and try to make it match on the outside. So that's what I'm going to do in between episodes. Speaking of in between episodes, I am, for the first time, I think, actually enjoying nuclear craft. I know last episode was short. This episode's going to be short, but I like putting out the shorter, more focused episodes. So I think that's what I'm going to do from now on. My episodes are going to range between 15 and 20 minutes long, and as a result, I can put out 5 episodes a week, Monday through Friday. The last 2 episodes were insanely easy to make, despite the fact that it was a lot of prep work. It was a lot of steel I had to make, but it didn't take nearly as long as it usually takes me to make an episode. And I like that. I actually found some mojo. So I'm going to do that from now on. Whoa. Sorry about that. So yeah, I'm going to do that from now on. I am Kelly Engineering, and put your thoughts in the comments about what you actually prefer. If you want me to do the longer episodes at 3 times a week or the shorter episodes 5 times a week, just say what your opinion is. I absolutely listen to all opinions that I see in the comments. But I am Kelly Engineering, and I hope that you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.